Good morning. I'm glad to be here. But before we start our program here, we need to remind the young ladies that if they are on the moon, they can be around the pipe and the medicine people. It's not a punishment. It's in our culture and tradition. So that's what I wanted to remind the young women. When the pipe comes in or it in here while they're praying, they have to leave the room. That's been in our culture for hundreds, probably thousands of years. So with that, I'm glad that you are all here. Omnichio yankap naha lila washte hoyam mitakuye oyasti.
Good morning. I've been looking worse. Wopula, you Chateta, Chicha below. Like to get all the leaders out there to come in as a grand entry, so. The drum group gonna sing the Oceti Sakowin Oloa. So they're gonna come in and they're gonna. Supposed to bring the staff out there. Maybe one of the leaders will come over and get the staff. Uh, What? Fill up Little Thunder. Peel. Are you here? Yeah. Mike, you left. Oh, he's out there. Window. Send Peel Little Thunder in. We need somebody to bring the staff in, so come get the staff, Peel Little Thunder. Okay, here's how we're gonna be starting it up here. We're gonna have a meeting song. Omoniche Oloa, they call it. And then the chief song. And then after that, we'll have the Oceti Sakowin Oloa when they're gonna bring the staff in and all the leaders are gonna come in, so. We're gonna be bringing a pipe in also at that time. Red cloth pipe will be brought in. Then after they bring everybody in and then the leaders up front, they're gonna fill the pipe. And they're gonna be blessing the medicine that the ladies brought, and then we're gonna smoke the pipe, say a prayer to smoke the pipe, and then we're gonna pass out the medicines to the people then during that time, and then after that, once we get all the protocols done before the start of the meeting, then we'll all the prayers are done and all the things that need to be done prior to the meeting start up, then we'll get going once we get all that done. So we're gonna have the Omoniche Oloa by Creekside, Chanchaga that is here. And then after that, they're gonna sing the chief song. And then after that, we'll have the Oceti Sakowin Oloa where the leaders will come in with the staff and the Chanupa. So did you hear that up there at the front? Watch it. Okay, there are gonna be two songs before the grand entry with the staff and all that. So if you all rise to these two songs here. Good guy. Yeah. Hold up on the grand entry. Don't come in yet. Hold up. Hold up right there. Oh. That was a meeting song. Omnicha lo he ahiap. Now we're gonna chief song. We catch lo ahiap to lo.
Wait, there's still teacher.
Yeah. Oh, hey, itach along kelo. Wana Oceti Sakowin along ahiam na itach na ke tuma ayuk telo. Na chanupa. Machbia luta. Ahoy. Okay. Hey, okay.
Oh, cool. Hey, David, you got a sec?
Oh, wow. Bueno, Chanupo, Kitaya, Oche, Kevin. You're quiet as Rick, Kanshi Rick. Two dogs in Kanshi Richard Moose Cow. That's a nicho below. Chanupa, Wicho, Machinia below. We're gonna have two medicine men handle the prayers with Red Cloud Chanupa at this time. So post the colors and we're gonna pass the medicines out. They're gonna be blessing the medicines also. And then after that, we're gonna have smoking of the pipe and passing of the medicine out to the relatives out here. Some of you come from long distances. Want you to have a good 4 days here. Are you ready with the chanupa? Go ahead. Okay, we're gonna fill the pipe here at this time, get it ready. Okay, at this time, the camera will be off also, so, the time of prayer, so all the cameras and recorders will be off at this time. There will not be any questions during this process. Please turn off your cell phone ringers also in my relatives.
Mitake pitayo chunkapelo. LA, Henry Quickver Senior much up in Hector Woyuk Choma Bluhana Inipituma Wacheki Wakari Chanupawa Ibkaha Sapacha Hechise Wakagina or Lena Sichangu Treaty Council Kilina Hewa Kukte Bulcha. You can Lila Diana Bluchana Wacheki Wakari you can Hechum say. Ichamukte cha Leon Petiki Wanai Chama. Chanupaki he Ibka Sapa he Sapa chi he Unicha Lila Ihani. So Yavna Cheche Lila Ihani hena Chanupa Sapa kilena Yuha Kokea Woglakab na Opagi Avna Umpab. Chale Chanupaki Hechum se Wakage na Yuha Wacheki Wakage. Wahishni Hani Inipituma Yaha makena, lawampi tuma yaha makena, wacheke wakare. Cha chanupa ki lewana si chango treaty council ki yaha mani okte. Na heche tanya yuhaki na tanya kuwaki yeche treaty council ki tanya tako ota washte wonka bokipelo. Cha heche wana treaty council ki chihani heche se oo abkha. Cha leon petuki chanupa wakha wana luhapelo. Tohom niche lohaki naish chanupiki wachiaki ho he waji lohapcha. Chante taha henachi chupelo. Chawopila hecha. Na leon petuki wakan na washte. Chayuha chante na pechiza na wopila chichapelo. Na treaty council na lo nicha na aloha wechashaki yankaki na nupies wopile waki lohina. Daya wachekia washage karab cha wopila chalo. Na ichachenki daya. So yuha ampete washte yuhapo na. Oko feel kitalo vitkotko kinta na cheche. Sta waka vata. Aha wopila hechalo halka.
Once again, while the EAPA is approaching the podium, I want to remind us of the importance of the Chanupa. We're going to hear from our spiritual leaders the significance of the Chanupa and when it's used and the protocols that go with it and what Ptehincha Sami Doske Len Chanupa ke Awangu Shipcha and Oyakinkte. We ask that the spiritual men remind us today about the care and protection of our pipe, our chanupa, and Ptehincha Sowi chanupa and ceremonies. The Ptehincha Sowi brought the chanupa to the Lakota people and only the Lakota people. And only the Lakota people should handle it at all times and care for it and protect it. Protect it with your lives so that the instructions of Ptehincha Sowi will go forward, continue into the 7 generations. So that so when we do something like this, we always try to remind each other of the protocols.
Okay, that's, just want to give Wopila for our Wakawachashas and our Utkachans that came. It's a good feeling, you know, a good meeting when we remember our protocols. In today's time, 2023 is from long ago, we still remember things that we had to follow, which really brings us back into who we are. And hopefully that we will continue and set more and add more things to it as we move along so that our younger generation who will be coming up to replace us will remember. And they will follow what we have brought back from the ashes. We're going to go ahead and start our agenda. And we're going to get the two that been working together, and Phil, when he first started out with this conference, this meeting, the Oceti Sakowin Treaty Conference. I know that there was a lot of concerns, but one thing that everybody was out there in the Oyate, they wanted us to come together, and that's really most powerful. We had a lot of delegates from different nations come, and we started really with a positive note. And it's an honor to bring my grandfather's chanupa that was at Fort Laramie, November 6th, 1868. He was one of the last ones to come forth and agree to the terms that was presented. And I always mentioned that it was the Peace Commission at that time was dissolved, so it was done the old way, two military forces sitting in opposite of each other and discussing the terms. And that's the most notable part of that process. And in I was able to bring Mekpe Tun Teoshpai together, and that's the other part of that, is that everybody needs to go home and start bringing your TYs to formulate, reestablish your Teoshpais. And that's a positive part of that, of rebuilding who we are. I just want to let you know that. And only thing that we prohibit here is no one sings Santa Claus song and jingle bells. You will be escorted out by the security right away. So with that, I want to bring up Justin. You know, he's been here a very long time. And I want him to go ahead, him and Phil will start to do the welcoming and introduce themselves. And he is not a government agent. I want to remind everybody that, right? He's one of us. Okay. All right.
Oh, I'm Petu Washte. You are Chante Washte na Petu Sapla. Gasan Shaho Washte Macha. I want to wish everybody a good day. You know, thank everybody for coming up. Thanks the singers for the songs. Like Sheaves for the prayers. And, you know, Wendell for always bringing a pipe. And praying for us like that in a good way. We got a lot to take care of again on this agenda. The big thing is, you know, uniting. We'll continue to work together, but, you know, as me and Phil talked about, we really need all our other tribes to form up their treaty councils. Because there's a lot of challenges that are coming up facing us right now. And everybody knows, you know, the mining in the Black Hills, the water issues, the continuing faulting of the government upholding the treaty obligations. So we really need to, you know, help our councils, our tribal councils, give them tools to work with. So, you know, I want to thank again
everybody for coming and, hope we have a good one. I hope to talk to y'all soon.
Oh, me takia pi iha, chonte wa stiana peo chus papalo. Now petu ki yuski awa chiangkap. Naha, washitia feel too eagle in macham. Naha, la koli chacha ki tashunka hisha in macham. Le toa, tako micha gacha mu. Naheo, peche logana, tako chajema ta ki wixing tanachi. Ja, le omaniche wa ngaga ki le niecha unichob na taku ota iogla picha ki le na hel eongana kakte hechel ilukta na don yakio ki ugna taku no ashteste ngaga bankoki ukte taku ota nachti u naku taku ashteste u as naku taku ota shicha yanki. As hena la kolia washi chukum hata hena anopta magoki cha hena wayukcha hecha le makoche wa khesapa elki he jelashni asna le wopche wala kota wopche wa kaka ki le for the treaty elki le he Oceti Sakowin makoche cha yonglaka Gesapa ki he opcha as le omonki le washichuki Great Sioux Reservation out. A he cha among get kwakte. He cha among get kwakte. Na gesapa wa heki le wakha na ehani oyate ki ehani wichon hena unspion kya. Cha ignagana ashna woche ke karab hena na hachi ke. Na ishwatosh na lewana chaneki ake hena opta hukte cha hena transhi cha kilena hena naku iwogla kabokip taku wichachpi yawapi the star knowledge of astronomy the constellations of the wichachpi oyateki iwogla the wichachpi kilena makoche kta naku owahe cha hena hecha ha le khesapa ki lila wakha na ha te hincha somi chanupa wa ahiki he uncha oyate ki he yokhla te was chunkum chit khokashila wichonyam piki hecha shunka wakha wakpala ab hecha Port Laramie al hecha chanupa umpap chanupapi chale wob khewa kaka ki he iglustum ha chanupa chale washi chunkum ki le he yokhlate washi chunkum cha to hani otia dagni chunkum kokipshni cha ohinya le na omaniche wichasha ki le na ob dakuni waglakinkte Echel takun unisha kokte. Nechi kalilali na dagni chanu yakishni. Hechanu antano gana takun actizingte. Gana takun yaglushinakte. Hechahan le wakanki lena wichachtala kilena itchachan kilena nacha kilena wakan chasha kilena wapi chasha na pijuto chasha lena obwashi chukum. Ena yuha obcha. Na the chanupa how wachak hanta dako oyaka ki he makasi tomnia el makasi tomnia he dako kya yokhlate mahel unki lena le unchi makhana makhpia chirka makasi tomnia cha hena nia chanupa loha hechi hena sloya hena uspenicham cha hena naku imungla koktelo I wanted to speak in my language, our ancient language, which has power. It comes from our ancestors. Those ancestors are still among us. They're in our blood, in our DNA. Sometimes we call that DNA memory. We gather here annually. We try to gather here. I believe this is our fifth gathering here for the Oceti Sakowin. And to discuss the treaty rights, the treaty issues, and most importantly, our inherent rights. These are our inherent powers that you just witnessed today. Those are important. The Lakota language is inherent power. That is important. I always emphasized, and I consult with our treaty council elders and our medicine men, our spiritual men, our healers. And we always have to consult our elders before we do anything, or else you'll be considered what I call a loose cannon. A loose cannon is someone that goes off and does things by themselves without checking with the elders, without checking with the Oceti Sakowin leaders. Now, I'm trying to help you understand that this is the traditional Lakota government. That's who we are. We've been here for thousands of years, if not millions of years, and that is your Tiwahe. You represent your Tiwahe, and you also represent your Tioshpaye and your Oshpaye and Oyate. Those are the four levels of traditional Lakota government that we still live by. So remember that the traditional Lakota government is real. It exists. Then you have the IRA tribal governments that were created in 1934. The 1934 Indian Reorganization Act was sent here by Washington, D.C. And it's a mechanism for them to support tribal programs, tribal governments with essential program services. Two different things, okay? Two different things. But the two must work together. The two must work together. The future of the Lakota Oyate it depends on our traditional Lakota government. If something ever happened where the IRA government was defunded, or the IRA government was terminated, it doesn't matter to us, to me, because we still exist as a traditional Lakota government, and we have been here for thousands of years. So I wanted us to remember that. Whether the IRA government works with us, we're still here. And we hope that they would listen to us, because there's something going on. Our treaty councils are being suppressed. Our treaty councils are being oppressed. We need to allow our traditional people to continue working for the treaties, because remember something, the 1868 Fort Laramie treaties were signed by the traditional Lakota chiefs, our grandpa, our grandfathers, our Tonkashila. They're the ones that signed the treaty. With that very act of doing that, the United States government has federally recognized traditional Lakota government in that treaty. So the traditional Lakota government does have power, and that's who we are. We can go to work from 8 to 5, and we're the IRA government, but when we get home, we return to our traditional Lakota home, our traditional Lakota government. And so this year, I want to remember that the Wamankashka, the wildlife that are out there, those are our relatives also. I always try to teach my young ones. My son is here today too. I'm very happy he's here. The buffalo, the tatanka, pteoyate, we must always keep them with us. They must keep them at our side. We must allow them to grow on the reservation. The Shunkawakan is important to us, the horse. We must allow them to be with us at all times as we move forward into the future, and all the wildlife. Those are our relatives. We must always protect them. The land that we live on back home is first the Oceti Sakowin Makoche. Then it was sectioned out as the Great Sioux Reservation. And then in the Dawes Act and in the 1889, 1877 acts, they carved out that Great Sioux Reservation. We still consider that our land. So when we say, I want the Black Hills back, that's not what we mean. We still have the Great Sioux Reservation to think about. And I want to offer a solution because I want to ask the IRA tribal governments for your support in passing resolution back home and in utilizing the Indian Reorganization Act and to ask these Washitula that are living on treaty land to give that land back to us. That is stolen treaty land. Give it back to us. You can do that. How you do that is, I'm glad our chairmen are here, is to open up an opportunity for the white man to return that land to us, and we will put it into trust. And we will give them a lifetime estate, but we will start getting our land back for free. And they will never have to pay taxes on that land again. The other way is a very difficult road. When the Oglalas and the Hupapas want to go consult with the Secretary of Interior, that's the long route. And we need to discuss that. Docket 74 was brought out. So this evening from 7 o'clock, we're going to have a panel discussion on that. And there's another opportunity or another proposal being brought out is to discuss a possible new congressional bill. But I want to warn us, all of us, that anything that we do within the federal process, we are surrendering. The proper thing to do is I ask your respect and listen to me. We must, you cannot change a treaty without making a new treaty. So the proper thing to do is to ask the president and Congress to repeal the 1877 Act that ended treaty making with tribes. And then we can go back to a nation negotiation on the treaties. Please think about that. Please think about that. Let's not be hasty on anything that we do. And I can't force you to do anything, but I at least ask you to listen to me because I've been studying the treaties for a long time. And thank you to Andy Reid, my attorney for the treaties. And he has taught me something about the federal Indian policies, the federal laws. So remember, if we go through the federal process, we will be surrendering to the federal process. But if we go through the treaty route, we're standing on our treaty, we're standing on inherent sovereignty, we're standing on our own 2 feet. And remember, the treaty is a two-way street. We can't sit back and wait for the federal government to honor the treaties. We must go forward. It's a two-way street. We must go forward and make him honor the treaties in every way we can. No matter what, we can't let him off the hook. So I'm gonna say that much. We have a really, must be under good training from my elders. At the Unia Hanska Mayacha. Kanshi Uspema Kir. La Uma Kakisacha. One Pilama Pila Mitakoyas.
I was standing by him, but he was looking the other way. And just wanted to, okay, like to do the welcome address. It'll be the chairman's. First one will be Scott Herman. After that, Frank Starr comes out, and Ryman LeBeau and Jeanette Alkire. They're here. Prepare yourselves. And for the first one, we will let Scott Herman. Is he here? I just wanted to comment on something. I just got a cataract removed, and I was able to see really good. I looked at myself in the mirror and I scared myself. That's how you look. It wasn't gray anymore. So Yeah. Now I could see everybody, because before I used to watch them and I used to watch how they walk. Some of them have some serious res walks. That's how I knew who they were. So now I can know who they are. So Scott, are you here? If Scott isn't here, then Frank, star comes out. Come on up and address the Oyate.
Matakiapi. Frank Starr comes out. My mother side is Hecro, Black Elk, Jumping Bull. My father's side, Star comes out. Barrow, Sitonka, and Chief No Water Tio Shbias. I thought that it'd be important because one thing I want to mention to you, I'm Lakota, Onkpapa first. That's very important. And my what I do for the tribe, I'm the current Oglala Sioux tribe president. And I'm also the chairman for the Great Plains region. And I represent those groups when I go to Washington. Depends on who I'm talking for. Well, basically, on a national level, I voice for Indian country. So it's on all levels. When we go to Washington, when we go to tribal summits in Washington, when they host in Washington and they want to meet with all the tribal leaders, 576 tribal leaders, half of them show up. And I want you to know the Oglalas that stand strong amongst them groups. But the reality is state tribes run this nation. And we need to change that. Because right now we get outvoted in this Washichu world. We bring up a lot of issues that affect Indian country. And those of you that follow me have some idea what I do in my role for my people. So I just wanted you to know that. And I respect every one of you sitting in this room. And when you're in this position, it weighs you down. It weighs you down. Don't matter how many accomplishments you do. There's so much problems, disparities, struggles. So when I go out there, I try to voice that. I also try to unite the Oceti Sakowin as a Great Plains region chairman. And it's good to hear that we have at least 5 tribes that want change. They want to work together. They want to unite. And more are coming on board when we go meet with government officials. It's good to see the Great Plains standing strong. And I want you to know that. We're making relations with southern tribes, northern tribes, the Rocky Mountain region, the Navajo, California tribes. We come together. We want to work together. Believe it or not, today is a time that we make moves and work together. Today is the time. We need to stand strong together as one. We have a sitting president who's given Indian country the opportunities you never seen from the United States government. This past week, last week, I was in Washington, D.C., and we watched the president of the United States sign a new order cutting the middleman out in the funding process, which makes it easier for all of us who apply for grants. So it cuts the middleman out. And we're tribal nations across the nation are extremely proud of that. Because if you ever apply for some of those funding opportunities, it's very difficult at times. But I'm getting a little off key here, but I just want you to know that the tribes are uniting. We're coming together. And now is the time to make a move. We got 1 year to take advantage of the opportunities. I even asked for the government officials, help me, help you. How do we get to that next step of getting land back? You know what he said? And this is coming from the interior. He said, you guys need to act now. You guys need to come together. You need to unite. And you need to act now. I talked with the Department of Justice, the leadership. I talked with the leadership of President Biden's cabinet. And for those of you who don't know what his cabinet is, these are the top leaders in the United States government. And we sat down with them. We asked them, come out to Indian country. Come see what it feels like from our point of view. Because a lot of them are not aware. They compare us to small tribes. They think we're all in the same boat. We're not. I know I've been to Washington many times voicing that this funding formula for tribes is not working for us. So we need to stop comparing us to other tribes. I know we call a state of emergency on law enforcement. We still haven't gotten paid from FEMA. So we're pushing those issues. But there's a lot of disparities that goes on in Indian country. But I want you to know the Great Plains are standing up to the leaders up there in Washington, to all the politicians on the Hill. We're voicing our concerns. We have to start lobbying more and more. But I want you to know we're bringing awareness to Washington that we want a seat at the table. It's time to stop ignoring us. You have a treaty obligation. Honor it. So those are some of the things that I'm pushing for. And I just want to say, Wopila, for inviting me today. I survived 1 year. 1 year in my term, exactly 1 year. The reason I say that is because, our biggest downfall is our own leadership when we don't work together. That's the problem I'm having. Nobody wants to take that step. We need to support each other. Come on board, come join me. Let's stand up and fight. We need to. And that's what I'm asking for. The Oyate, it's time. We need to push things. You'll see that this year. Wopila.
Okay, those are our touches that represent us on our Indian reorganization presidents. Next one, the touch that needs to come up will be Ryman. Ryman, are you here? Oh, okay. He was hiding out. Look, he's hiding behind over there. So bring him out. Oh, Nelo.
Omadake ape, iha chante washten ape chuz aplo. Wichasha yamana macha, wakpa washte o yanke, itancha el hemacha. Bishbija ota bluha. I want to welcome you all to the treaty meeting 2023. It's good to be back. I like to come to these meetings even before I was just a councilman. I came to these meetings. They said it's the 5th annual, but it seemed like they've been going on longer than that and a lot of times, and appreciate this opportunity to welcome you all. And thank you all for all coming. It's good to hear our Lakota Api spoken in common places. Growing up, my grandparents was the only place we heard it. We heard them talk. Now they're passed on. Gib Lebeau and Unchi Marcella Lebeau. Well, good thing I got to spend a lot of time with them growing up. They taught me a lot, and I felt like they were getting me ready for the rest of my life. So I appreciate them, and I appreciate all the elders in this room. I want to say I respect all of you because they said I'm really, really, really young chairman. I just turned 45, so not that young. And I've been in council for 14 years as a councilman before I got this chairmanship. So it's not my first powwow. And with that, President Starr comes out. We came in this together at the same time, and appreciate him and his leadership, and it's good to see him at these same meetings. Another one was Chairman Renville from Sisseton Oyate. He got in at the same time too, the three of us, all at the same timing here. But we get Cheyenne River, they give us 4 years for chairmen, for council. So you have me for some time now, and I want to stress, like she said, working together and being at one, united as one. And I was talking to the old guys back in the back room. They were saying, it's not just about the Black Hills; it's about all our treaty land and all of our reservations. Those are treaty lands too. Just because they call them reservations now, those that started out as our own lands, treaty lands. So he talked about getting those lands back within our reservations, outside of our reservations, those border towns, those are our towns. Those are our lands they sit on. Those counties, those are all ours. We should get all those back as well. And I agree, you know, and definitely, and now's the time. I think it's with this administration, with this President Biden, they're offering this co-management. Richie's here, so Richie, give us our Black Hills back. Did you bring the hills? But again, you know, we signed that paper for co-management of Pactola Lake and surrounding area and visitor center, which was good. Good to see the tribes on that, and that was just the first one. We got to do all of them now, and we signed it with the treaty councils. We're on that paper too. That's the model we got to have going forward, working together. And it's not just Pactola Lake, but also Wind Cave, Mount Rushmore, Black Hills, Forest, all these federal lands. These are our lands. And a good way to start is with that co-management. And that's a foot in the door. And that's not everything, but it's a start. We'll start taking over them. We sat in those meetings with the U.S. Forestry, and they were like, yeah, they're happy we came and happy we were there, and they're showing us around our own Black Hills, and they took us back to this area. It looked like Peshla. It was grassland in the middle of the forest. They called it Baldy Hills. And they're like, hey, look at this. You ever see this before? And he was like, no. That was an awesome place back there. And there's like, you guys can get work. You could bring in your own crew from your own reservations and help clean these bottom forest lands up, get rid of all the dead trees and timber that's just on the ground, rotting, clean that up. That's a job. Pay you for that. That's a job for our people. But before I get too long-winded, I just wanted to share that we went out to the Tribal Nations White House Summit, and we got to meet with the federal government, the BIA, all of those top agencies, and they selected a few of us, about 15 or so tribal leaders, chairmans, and presidents. And they said, do you want to meet the president? I said, yeah, sure. So they said, meet us back here at this time, and then we'll take you back. So we went over there, and the other one from our area was Chairman Alkire from Standing Rock. And then there's just all these other tribal leaders from all over the place. They took us they screened us, they made us take our cell phones, wallets, everything out of our pockets. And before I went back there, Tahashi from Sichangu, he gave me a paper, and it was a paper on returning the Black Hills. And it was good. It outlined a process on what needs to happen, including co-management, including a presidential commission, including support for legislation, because President Biden, he can't do this on his own. He has to have Congress go along with this. And other things in that letter, like mineral withdrawal from the Black Hills, Youth Corps service, staff, dedicated staff from the Biden administration to work on returning the Black Hills, returning the federal lands to the Sioux Nation. So I took this paper, and I was back there, and they made us take all our stuff out of our pockets. I just kept that paper in my hand, and we was back there about a half an hour, and then finally they shuffled us through this little hallway, and then went around the corner, and they called our name, and President Biden was standing there. So we walked up to him, shook his hand. I said, I'm Ryman LeBeau, chairman of the Cheyenne River Sioux Tribe. I said, good to meet you, Mr. President, and I have a request for you. And we request that the return of the Black Hills to the Sioux Nation. We said, we signed the Treaty of 1868 with the United States. And we ask you to uphold this treaty of our people. And I handed him that paper. He looked at it, and he gave it to the staff. And he said, well, check it out. We'll look into it. And he said, let's take a picture. So they took pictures, and then And then that was that. Nice to meet you, he said, and then that was that. So I wanted to share that story with you because it's important and it aligns with what we're doing here today. So I just wanted to share that. I have that, I can share that paper I gave him as well. I took pictures of it. And we wanted all the chairmen and presidents to sign off on that one, but we didn't have that much time. So but again, we're gonna come out with another paper and try to get that support from all the tribes and all of you, all the treaty councils. Again, we got to work together, and I thank you for letting me ramble on this morning. Wendell, look at Wendell, here he comes. Wopila chicha aplo madaki asi.
Oh, yeah. We're gonna call the chairman. You can ask questions when they're done. He's standing beside you. You can talk to him. Okay, we want to, you can tell when the Itachans in their second year, right away, they grab the mic and they hold on to it, you know? And they're really confident now, so. We want to bring up for Sichongo's Itachan for is Chris Eagle Bear. Could you come on up and you know, I was over in my community and I said, be sure to check on your elders. And they said, well, how you doing? I said, wow, these guys, huh?
Ha mataki api kichta chikale macha api chante washe nape cheese up. First things is I'd like to apologize to all my elders in this room for speaking in front of you. And I'd like to apologize on behalf of Sichanga Lakota country for our chairman not being here. And I also like to apologize on behalf of my other council people that come here to represent the tribe as well. Thank you for allowing me to speak on behalf of our tribe. But before I get started, I just want to say, you know, I'm no one, I'm nothing. I'm just a man, a young man. I'm 25 years old. I'm from the Black Pipe community on the Rosebud Sioux tribe. The newly elected council member. And for those of you that don't know me, I'm the grandson of Russell Eagle Bear. And so I bring a lot of, I guess, his knowledge and his wisdom to the table, as well as a new understanding for the next generation that we're going into. You know, I'm a big supporter of our treaty council as well. I really like what Phil's been doing. Philomene. But I just want to say, you know, when we really look at our treaties, everything's in there in black and white. And if we really go back to our treaties, you know, we wouldn't be Sichanga, we wouldn't be Ogallala, we'd just be Lakota. And whenever we go forward, like the last chairmans have been saying, you know, I got to meet them throughout this past year. I got to make relations with each and every one of them. And so I want to keep on holding on to that going forward and representing our tribe of Sichanga Lakota at these events. And hopefully someday having a kid see this and seeing that someone so young can be here and do this for them too, and so that they can bring the next generation in as well. But like the last chairmans were saying, you know, bringing our people together is the main thing. This unity that we're all trying to come together and has been a long time coming. You know, like President Starr comes out said, we have 1 year left. And going forward, you know, instead of waiting last minute, we should really get onto these topics right away. For whatever reason it is, it happens the way it does. That's just how creator works. And so, you know, I'm really proud of each and every one of you chairmen for going out there and making this thing happen. And to all of you here today, you know, you belong here for a reason. This is your land, this is your place. And don't let anyone ever tell you anything different. You're a Lakota, you're strong. Whenever we think of Lakota, whenever we think of a Native American, the first thing that comes to mind is a Lakota. And everybody wants to be a Lakota until you actually see a Lakota. And then you push them aside. Too many times have we had no seat at the table until just recently when we started making our voice known, started making our presence known, that we're still here, that we're still strong. And when it comes to our language, right after the Navajo Nation. Lakota is right up there too with each and every other language. And so I just want to say to the Oceti Sakowin, you know, thank you for allowing me to just take some of my time to represent my tribe well. Oh, Itaki Yasa.
Okay, for the Hunkpapa, Sid Bailey. He's gonna give a report. Yeah. It was a good thing that we're grandpas are always in competition with grandfather Google. So every time I talk to them about advice, you can check it with grandfather Google. If I'm right, you have to apologize to me.
Good morning. My name is Sidney Bailey. I'm a representative for the Long Soldier District that's on the Standing Rock Reservation. I want to apologize also for our leader at this time. She's preoccupied with other things that they have to carry on. It's kind of a hard act to follow when you listen to Mr. Stark comes out and LeBeau and the other gentlemen here that, you know, they talk a lot about coming together and for all of us to put our minds together so that we can pick the right path for the future of our younger generation. And it's difficult at times when Mr. Stark comes out and says when he's weighed down by some of this issues that he has to address, and I feel him when he says that you get weighed down. You know, I have the enrollment at on reservations and stuff, and how do we increase our enrollment and stuff? You know, they say our enrollments are going down and so forth. So, you know, and there's things that, you know, the government might, you know, do away with tribes, and, you know, you hear all of these rumors. So it's and boy, you just get on council and it's sometimes it overwhelms you. You know, you're looking for the answers, and if we don't all come together, we're not going to get it right. We need to come together. We need to support each other. Even with the docket 74, you know, Mr. Phil, Two Eagles, and other people that are all involved. You know, I have a mentor, like, you know, we get into it at times, and that's Cedric Goodhouse, and he's always giving me some good advice and put me on a good path too. You know, he's dedicated his life, and others back at home that have dedicated their life that I get a chance to sit down and listen to, and to try to determine if we're making the right choice. Which way do we want to fight this issue? Which way do we want to make a better future for our children? So it becomes difficult, you know. They're hard to get up and to choose the right path. You know, I've been coming here to the Treaty Council since I've got on council, and I've last year I had the opportunity to speak in front of you, and it was tough, you know, because it was our language that, you know, that we're losing, and how do we get it back? And you know, Mrs. Ruth Buffalo, she came up with and she had hers, and it became emotional, and I felt her and stuff on all of it and stuff, and because a lot of our ancestors that went to boarding schools, you know, the boarding school issue is out there, and we need to keep it alive. We need to keep pushing, and we need to support her efforts that she has that are looking into the boarding schools. Back at home, we have a large list of issues that we try to, and it's difficult. That's at times I look to my community to help me in the best way, and to show me how I should address this issue. And but there's so many sometimes that it's heavy. It's heavy on you, and it's you take that home and you take it back to your family and stuff. And how do you keep it outside? You bring it in, and now your family is involved in it and stuff. So it's difficult. So when it becomes, some of these issues that are, you know, you hold close to your heart because, you know, it involves all of Lakota, you know, and, it doesn't matter what reservation or that we come from, it's difficult on all of us. We all face the same thing, but you know, it's time for us to come together and to address these issues. And maybe if we came together and we all, like tonight, we're gonna come together on the docket 74 and we're gonna have a discussion on it. This should have happened a long time ago. It should have happened a long time ago, and now we're faced with this task, and there's is there a right way or is there a wrong way, and so forth. You know, if we would have had this discussion, maybe we could have put our heads together and we could have found the right way. But I'm looking forward for the discussion, and I hope that you all come to this evening to the discussion of docket 74, because it's very interesting. It's got my attention, and it's difficult to navigate through all of the issues that come with docket 74. I mean, you know, it makes you mad. It'll make you mad. The docket 74, if you read up on it and find out how the four, I think it was colonels or generals that were with the Union and how they changed the treaty and stuff in Chicago. And boy, it's and then Indian Claims Commission comes out and says it's a whole different story, and you know, they kind of back it up too by saying, you know, that the Lakotas will fight to the death before they give up their land, you know. And it's so, you know, you navigate through all of them issues and stuff, and you become emotionally tied to it, and it makes it very difficult. So when I never thought I was gonna get like tied into or emotionally into something as such as docket 74 and our enrollment and so forth, you know, there are other issues. I never thought I would be like that and stuff, but when you get into a position like this, you're gonna be like that, and you're gonna have to be like that, and it's difficult to know where to leave it so that you can go home and you can have a peaceful time with your family. It's not like that. It's not like that. We have a ranch, so you know, we put up hay. So I'm the only one in the tractor and stuff, and while I'm putting up hay, all these issues are on my mind. All of these issues that I think of, that I'm in a tractor and stuff, it never leaves you, because it's a huge responsibility, and it's an honor at times too. Sometimes it's not all, you know, like heavy on you. Sometimes it's good to have to see that, hey, we accomplished something, you know. And when you accomplish something for your people that you're elected to guide into the future and stuff, and when you accomplish something, oh, it's a really good feeling. And you know, so I guess, you know, I don't want to be like Raymond too, is like talk forever and stuff, but you know, I just thought I'd come up here and apologize for our Janet not being here, and to welcome you guys to the 2023 Treaty Council. And I hope that, you know, in the future, that when we come here and stuff, that we can all sit down and we can address issues before and with all of us here. Because I look at all of you out here. When I first got here, it was, holy smokes, these guys know a lot about our treaty, about our history and stuff. And now I got to play catch up and stuff, and it's difficult. Mr. Bill Means, when he gets up and he speaks in it, he just blows my mind away. I learn a lot all the time from you coming here and listening to you guys speak on the minerals, the land, and you know, it's a really good learning process that and I think you know, if I choose not to ever run for a council, I think I would come back here, because this is a wealth of information that we have in this room, and I'm glad that you guys get up and you share it because there's some people that will hoard it and they won't give it out and, you know, and then when it becomes time to attack issue, you know, there's only one person, but if you share it, you got everybody's mind in it and their thoughts and their heart and so forth. So it's a good feeling when you know everybody has the same information and we all know what we're talking about and stuff. So, you know, but thank you for the time to speak to you guys.
Just for another note from me, Wopila for our fluent Lakota speakers. I'm a grandpa bus. I don't know if some of you know what that means. I mean, I drive my grandkids to meet the bus. And I'm a bus driver. That's the only thing I got now left. So I asked my grandkids, I said, can you count Lakota to 10 at least? And they looked at me and they really, really went at it, you know, and I was happy. I'm driving down the road, they're counting. And they had such enthusiasm. They weren't bashful like us that we're growing up. When you say speak Lakota, we look at them, we got bashful with them. They didn't. They really got into it. So Wopila Tanka for me, you know, those that are affluent and teach the kids at school. So continue on. The other thing I wanted to, we're going to be bringing up the opening remarks. Is Bill here? Neil, come on up.
Okay, while Bill is coming up, one change to the agenda is that our elder Victor Duville, he's gonna try to come in on the Zoom. So, and then we need to fit in our Canadian relatives in here somewhere.
Good to see you. Hey, here it is. Go ahead, right there. Here, now.
Hope met aku e on peti ki le chante ma wa state après si zak de lo. Watch up in Axtiji, Praisente Kyoshpai. I want to say that much. My name is Bill Means and I come from the Oglala band and from Porcupine District. And my name is Defender in Lakota. I got that name when I came back from a place called Republic of South Vietnam. They ran us out there. It's going fast. Barely got out there. But anyways, I always use that example because the Vietnamese, they love their land so much. They don't want to sell it to the United States. United States offered them a lot of money, but instead of that, they fought. They fought to the death, a lot of them. And that's where I got a political awakening, where I said to myself, now, how could this guy run in front of me and try to blow me up, but he wants to fight for his country? And so that was really a contradiction. But I put my mind on surviving because I want to be like that man that resisted the United States. After they taught me what politics is about, I learned that in Vietnam. And that they're willing to sacrifice the lives of our young people in order to attain some political goals. And I think of what's going on in Middle East there, Palestinians fighting for their land. Some people said, well, you're anti-Jewish because look what they did to our people. Well, they didn't talk about all the bombs they dropped for all these years. They just talked about that one incident. And of course, people get tired of having their women and children killed. Just like they said we're anti-United States because we took care of his general over here on Greasy Grass. His name was Custer, if you guys recall. And so they said we're anti-American. Now they say Indians are anti-Jewish. We're not anti-Jewish. We're pro-human rights. That's what we say. And so when you get in the international community, you begin to understand how strong our treaties are. When you go to work in the United Nations, you understand how much the people respect Native people because we're still alive here in the midst of all this America. And yet and still, they're coming after what little we got left. They got this one resource now. There's a group of Indians over there in Nevada. I think they're Paiutes, but they're after their, what's it called now? It's a mineral. They make batteries, lithium. Now they found out, and then they're trying to use it as saying it's environmentally safe. We're going to make electric cars. But what they don't tell you is they're going to pollute all this Indian land, steal all the lithium, and then we won't see them no more. Just like when they took the gold out of the Black Hills. So we've already been through that. We know that they disguise themselves as sheep. They disguise themselves as salesmen. They disguise themselves as senators, politicians, but they really, they want what we have. And so now we're dealing with this thing called Docket 74. I think what we have to change that language to is we're taking, they said it's the unceded territories, or we need to change that thinking into return of lands. If they want to talk about Docket 74, let's talk about returning the land, not giving more up for a few dimes and quarters and nickels. They need to return some land. Then we'll start talking. Because we keep giving up land, but what we get. I know our tribe went through over 200 million. And what they want for the Black Hills, the whole Black Hills, they want 17 million. That's all they were going to give us. Our tribe went through $1 billion, not just our tribe, but I think we added up 3 tribes, over $1 billion. What do we have to show for it? I know down Pine Ridge, we got 473 new pickups. That's all we got. That's all I see. Every program, they got the window down, cruising with the AC on. That's the only thing we got to show for. 200 and some million. Where'd it go? Well, the people got a little cut. Look how long that lasted. What if they give us 117 million for the Black Hills? They'll be gone about 3 weeks, according to our past history of spending. So we can't do that. We can't sell our history. We can't sell our birthplace. This is where our nation started. This is a creation story. Black Hills. That's our identity. That's where Lakota language comes out of there. Everything that we hold dear and sacred, the 7 sacred ceremonies, that's where they started, Black Hills. So when you think about that, that's 17 million. We already went through over 200 million, just at Pine Ridge. So it's not worth it. They just go, them guys they didn't even think about it. They took that money so fast, now it's all gone. Plus we got the tax money returned to us. So think about that. It's kind of a circle. We get a little money, we spend it at the store, and the tax goes back to Washington, D.C., to the state of South Dakota, to all the people that benefit except Lakotas. They didn't build no youth center. I've been looking around, I didn't see none. They didn't build no new schools or anything. All I seen was new pickups. So I just want to say on that docket, 74B, 74A, before we discuss anything, we want to discuss return of lands. So put that in your mind. They want to return some land, then we'll talk to them. They want to start leasing some of that land they stole, lease it back to us. Lease it from us. You owe all that. But before that, then we'll get 17 million, or we'll get 200 million from the rent, not from the sale. But we ain't selling no more land. Tell government that. When we go to negotiation, I'm not against negotiation, but you don't start off in the hole. You go to horse sale, you don't fucking, excuse my language. You don't just give your horse away. Hey, man, come on now. They got to produce something. But right now, we're giving everything away for a few dollars. That's nothing. They laugh at. 200 million, 117 million. That means nothing. So I just want to say that much. My good friends here, I want to thank Phil and Sichangos, because they got a way of organizing, getting everybody together. But you know, our language, sometimes it's changing. I give my Tarchi a ride, my brother-in-law, and he need a ride. I need a ride to Rapid. But sometimes he said, man, I said, I've been going to Lakota class, and I'm learning language, all that. So then I brought him to dropped him off, or got to Rapid. He said, so I said, well, you be good, you hang in there. He said, well, many whoops, he said. What the hell is that now? It corrupts our language again. Many whoops, he said. Damn. Try to get him to talk like Lakota and they corrupt that next. So anyways, I want to say thank you to all the people that's organizing. But remember, we're not going to go any more negotiations for land unless they talk return of lands. That's got to be our new way of life for Lakotas. Because every time we negotiate, they want a little bit more. They want lithium, things that we never heard of. They made a mineral out of it. Or they made, now they say that's environmentally safe. But they didn't talk about all the pollution to the water, all the pollution to Mother Earth that goes with the lithium. There's a lot of lithium in the Black Hills, by the way. They've been over there drilling for that. See where that's at. So I say to all of us, before we go to negotiations, we'll send a letter that says, we want to talk about return of land. We don't want to talk about docket 74, about giving up our land for some money. That money stuff, let's make that past history. Let's put that behind us now. We made some mistakes, but we ain't selling no more land. Because then we're negotiating. We want to negotiate, we're going to negotiate for a return of lands. And we'll start with the Black Hills. So when they want to talk about docket 74, let's say, well, we want 1 million acres of that Black Hills. Start off with, return that, and then we'll come back and talk more about docket 74. But in order for you to show good faith, we want you to return some land. See what they say. Let's start there for once instead of this lawyer presents this document, this lawyer presents that document. Before you know it, we don't have no more land. And then they send us a payment for $100 each. What did we get? Nothing. So anyways, that's my position. By the way, I want to invite you all to the 50th anniversary of the International Indian Treaty Council. Began in Standing Rock, 1974. Standing Rock, you know, they have a great understanding of a history of treaties over there. So in 1970s, remember we had the Wounded Knee and all that. Nobody wanted to invite AIM to their res to talk about treaties. But Standing Rock, they didn't say, we're not going to talk about who's a criminal, who's not. We're going to talk about the treaty. So they invite us. The BIA superintendent was Mrs. Plume, who's from Pine Ridge. And the tribal chairman, his name was White Eagle, Melvin White Eagle. Takili, man. He come to every meeting during that 4 or 5 days. Welcome to people. They gave us the use of Chief Gall Inn, was a brand new motel. That was our headquarters, where all the elderlies, they got a room. The ones that didn't have a tent or something like that, we put them in that motel. So man, they really treat us good, Standing Rock. So we're gonna go back over there. We don't know exactly where, but we're planning all that now. We start early so we can give a good conference. And we talk about things like human rights. We talk about things like treaty rights, about this mining, the Black Hill, all these things will be discussed there. The water that's being polluted out of the Black Hills. We've got studies going on right now by some of the young people who's been doing that for about a year, 2 years now, studying the water that's coming out of the Black Hills to see the damage that's still there. They ain't talking about that when they're talking about docket 74. Let them bring up that, how much water is polluted. And where's it come? Cheyenne River. So it goes on the northern part of our res all the way to the Missouri, through Cheyenne River res, all that way. They're polluting. But yet still we let them off the hook because we want to talk about docket 74. Come on, man. You got a lot of things to catch up on. You got a lot of stuff you owe us. We want to talk about besides money. So let's remember those things, and we're going to have a good meeting in June next year. And you guys are all invited. We'll come over there. We'll have some good meetings, and take some positions, and we'll have delegations from all over the world. Indigenous people, just like us, they're fighting for their land, they're fighting for their culture, they're fighting for their language. Probably have some Palestinians there. Tell us about the war they're just in. That's still going on. Or we'll probably have some people from New Zealand talk about the restoration of their language, how they did that. It's a model for the whole world. Or maybe we'll talk to some Aborigines who fought for their land in Australia. And so some of these people have some good ideas how they develop economically these different parts of the world and how we can help them. And so we trade ideas. Maybe we'll set up some trade activities from some of our people that have something to trade with some of their people. So these are things that can happen there in June of next year. And so I want to remind you of this old chief. His name was Seattle. There's a city named after him, remember? In Northwest. He had this to say to the government. This is way back when they were rounding up his people to put them on reservations. He told the general cavalry there, he said, tribe follows tribe, and nation follows nation. It is like the waves of the sea. It is the order of nature, and regret is useless. He said, your time of decay may be distant, but it will surely come, because even your God, who walked and talked with you as friend with friend, could not escape the common destiny. We may be brothers and sisters after all, we shall see. Oceti Sakowin, without curiosity.
Many whoops. That brings up something that occurs in our TY. And my aunt's been living off the reservation or the homeland for a very long time. My grandfather said, we were all sitting at a family gathering. He said, well, he throws it out there. He said, how do you say table? My aunt jumps up and says, I know. And so they said, okay, well, how do you say it? Table la. And that's what I learned in boarding school, he said. So now you know what, in Lakota, it's table la. The next speaker we'll bring up is, would be Banshia, Lekshi, actually, Rick Two Dogs, to come up and speak on, Oh, Victor?
Victor Duville coming online. Victor, are you there?
We have a change, so bear with us. Is he on? As we wait, through the years of the homeland, you know that we created a lot of our own words. I've never heard anybody say that, but another one was cho snaz. So all you powwow people, hey, ata cho snaz. So is he on? Not yet.
Many wolves.
Well, as we wait, just wanted to let you know that next year, June 2nd, 2024, it'll be 100 years when we were declared citizens of the United States of America.
Wow.
So Bill said we're going to have an honoring and we're going to all say the Pledge of Allegiance together. So that's just remind you that 100 years we've been declared citizens of America. June 2nd, 2024.
Yeah.
So
All you have to do is hit. Okay, Victor's trying to log in right now. Just take 5 minutes.
all right, well, everybody take a coffee break. He's been shutting him. Yeah, you hear me? All right, take a coffee break. Every 5 minutes, take a break. Simon says, take a coffee break. Yeah. The agendas, you have big. Okay. Phil said we're not gonna feed you till this evening because after we feed you, all leave. So we're gonna go with the agenda here. 5 minutes, get your coffee, take a break. Then we're gonna come back and Alexi Rick will go ahead and start. I thought you gave me that. You donated it to me. Yeah. That'll be next. Yeah. Rick and then,
Remember, I said, let's work together. Remind me. Keep me in line.
what is it?
Just a reminder that when our elders are talking, please stay off your cell phones during the talks. I really appreciate it. If we can have your full attention. If not, please turn off your cell phones until maybe noon or something. But let's respect our elders and not be on the phones during the presentations.
Okay. Let's start making our way. You know, I told you that, but you didn't.
Okay, so we'll get back on the agenda.
Right there and right there.
And then there's all like.
Yeah. Where's our whip there? We'll keep Phil in line. Okay, let's start grabbing your seat. We're gonna start to begin. Okay, we're gonna go ahead. Let you. Rick will come up and present. All right. Put your phones away. Let's start paying attention.
Change them and stuff. She was. It's not coming on the screen. There it is. Right there. Yeah, it went away. There you go. It comes on and goes up. There it's. We'll just break for lunch. Having technical difficulty. So I just start without the PowerPoint? Uh-huh. Okay, good morning, everybody. Those of you that are listening, those that are gossiping, some of you that are just BSing. First of all, introduce myself, Lakota language. My name is Moya Mani Emachapi na Kiuk sa oyang kehemata ha. Matho ayate tiosh pa hemata. Na itchachon ki mitra ki mila hanska trachon ki etiapi. Oyun kan lelwo api le monlaka pi ki chanu pa ahipi ki he echa iwo agala kinkta. Ocha he otro ka le eche slowai le tueni hani ocho ka etan na ish oini ka etan ish biwang wachipi etan tohani lena iwogala kapini. Hani vichasha ya hocho ka gulha iwata kapcha ohetu cha lena iwogala. So I'm going to talk about the bringing of the sacred pipe, the Tehinchla Hohu Chanupa. That's how the old people said it. It's the buffalo calf pipe, or the pipe is made or was brought to us. It's the leg of a buffalo calf. And afterwards, later on, we have the pipestone Chanupa, the stone, the pipe made from pipestone, and the stem was wooden. Those were later on. The first pipe was made from a buffalo calf pipe. So, hey, these things were not discussed before
outside of the ceremonial setting. So when I heard the stories, it was at the ceremony, Yuipi ceremony or Loampi of these medicine men. A lot of these medicine men told this story about how the Chanupa came to us, and it was told in that ceremonial setting. And it was a part of whenever those of you that are familiar with the ceremonies, when they sit down, this medicine man talks, and he'll talk about the history of the pipe, the Chanupa, where it came from, or they will talk about their visions and how they got their power and ability to do these things. So it's kind of new to step outside of that setting to discuss these things. And so among our people, I'm hoping that isn't what they call wowachtani. So wowachtani is a word that when the preachers first came to us, they didn't have a word for sin. So when they talked to the preachers, they said, "What is your concept of sin?" They said, "Wowachtani." So what is that? So they said, if you don't feed someone that comes to your home. So those preachers were really, I guess, puzzled by that because that's not their idea of a sin. But in the worldview of the Lakota, that is a sin. Somebody comes to your home, you don't feed them. Somebody comes to your home and they have maybe an old blanket that's tattered. So you have an extra good blanket, so you give it to them. And that's a part of the wotakie. When you break the word wotakie down, it doesn't mean kinship. It means wo is collectively, daku is what you cherish, ye is always forever into the future. So that's how we translated wotakuya, relationship. So that's something we carried all of our lives. At an early age, you're taught about wotakuya. Your parents will talk to you. Lena takuichaya, lena tioshpaya nitopiki etampi. So these are your relatives. These are people from your tioshpaya. So these were how you look at people. And what sets up the social boundaries of our people is that kinship. And we've gone away from that kinship a lot today. So I always observe that. And when I go among the people, we've forgotten that. We've forgotten the social boundaries and the protocols within that kinship. So I have a lot of young men come up to me and try to tease me, and that's not, you're not supposed to tease somebody older than you, especially if they're a relative. You treat them with honor. So those protocols are within, all of these are within the sacred Chanupa. All of them are in there. You live by that. You live by that worldview. So this is what we're going to talk about today. So this is something that when these young men were out scouting and the people were having a famine, they seen something approaching, and here it was a beautiful young woman. So one of the men had bad thoughts about her, and because this was a sacred woman, she knew what their thought. She knew what his thoughts were. So she told him in Lakota, "Takuma ilukchan ki he hiuna igluat wichak hayo." She said, "Come and do what you're thinking." So when he approached her, a cloud covered him, and when that cloud lifted up, that man was laying there as a skeleton. But the other young man kept his protocol, and he said that she was a sacred woman and not to have those thoughts to his cousin. But he persisted in his thoughts, so that's what happened to him. And according to the story, after he was laying there with a skeleton, all these different kind of snakes left from his body. And they say before then, there was not snakes on this land, on this country. So one of the lessons behind that is that we can be consumed by these snakes, which is bad thoughts, thoughts that are not appropriate like that. Those are examples of how these snakes enter our worldview and our thoughts like that. So when you say a relative term, then that is a social boundary. So I'm sitting over there at the table with my trakojas. So when I say trakoja, then I got to go by that and live by that. So I look at them as trakoja grandchildren. So that's just an example of how when she brought this chanupa to us, she told them that there will be a black cloud under the sun, and when they see that, to prepare. So whenever they set up this tiikja, this teepee, facing to the west, she came singing a song, and she brought that pipe from the west. This is the story that I heard from grandfather Foolscrow, that she brought the pipe from the west. But if you bring that up today in a meeting, then there's all kinds of arguments. No, they brought it from the north. No, they brought it from this way, like that. So we run into that now today. So it confuses the young people because they don't know what to believe, because they hear so many different versions, and everybody wants to be right, and everybody wants to be the most powerful. And that's what we're faced with today. Okay, you could turn the slide. So won't spare on kichupi, honey. Na ate lekshi thui unchi kaka toke won kaka. They gave us teachings. They gave us a way of looking at the world. So this is kind of part of that, how we came to these seven sacred laws. And the woyachi of these laws comes from the Big Dipper. There's 7 spiritual laws that we live by, and they come from the Big Dipper. Okay, you can turn. So these are the spiritual laws that we have. There's wonshila, wa'unshila, compassion. Tiwaheki, tuwa ya TL he hanta woyakukte. Feed everyone who comes to your home. So that's an example of how you exercise and live these spiritual laws. The next one is wowachwala, humility. Tohani ni glaoni hankteshni. Never boast of your achievements. Woksape, wisdom. Ipulchnia woechun wa echun shniyo or ye. Never do anything without first thinking it through. Wachantognaka, generosity. Nankun ichete etan iakchu ash, wichaya kukte. When someone comes to your home, feed them even if it means you go without. Taku eheki hena takumani chanukta hecha. Whatever you say you're going to do, and you must complete it. So that's wowachintanka. And then taku toketo ash blihich alpo, or blihich alpi, as the females will say. No matter what, take courage. Why you only respect? Why you only be hunter? Nish ni only pikte. Lo or ye. If you respect yourself, people will respect you also. So that goes 2 ways. If you respect somebody, then they should respect you. So that's those are just examples. There's many examples of these you could probably give a whole presentation, a whole day on how these work. Okay. So this is how the worldview of our people long ago, see, we put spiritual law, Dakuwakan, that was at the hutkan of everything. It was the root of everything. So in the spiritual law, how we protect our sacred things, our sacred items, our ceremonies, the protocols that go with them, we protected those like the Chanumpa here. And I'm glad that they smoked this pipe this time. Last time they had a pipe that was filled and people start coming up and they start getting more and more belligerent. They start talking off like they shouldn't talk. And Chanupale ohomani wachwala opinichingte. You, in a humble way, you conduct yourself around this pipe. And when it's put together, everything that's said in this room goes through that chanupa and goes to the creator. So if you're gossiping, if you're talking bad, it's going through there and it's going to the creator. So we always got to remember that when that pipe is together, that pipe is in ceremony. So the spiritual law, we protected first our people. Then there was the natural law. So we lived in harmony with everything around us. And then the custom law. So how you conduct yourself among other people, like that. That was a part of that. So if you're respectful to everybody, then people will be respectful to you. That was a part of it. This morning, my Tahashi brought me a chair, and see, that's part of it. So whenever it's time to eat today, the elders should eat first. And then the people long ago, that's how we lived. If the camp was going through a famine, then the young warriors and the young women, they never ate. The elderly, the sickly, and the children ate first long ago. When we moved camp, it was the sickly, elderly, and children determined the pace of how that camp moves, how quick they move. And where we got that was from the Pteoyate, the buffalo people. When they moved, the old people, the sick buffalo, and the little calves determined the pace. Nobody went ahead of the other ones. And then there's the governance of this social life, like Oyate, Patayala. So you can go ahead and turn. So there are four pipes, four laws to the Chanumpa. So this morning you seen a Chanumpa presented. You do that four times. And what that person is asking of the other person is, it says, never lie with the sacred pipe. It says, will you ever lie with the sacred pipe? And you bring the Chanumpa back. Never turn your back on your people. Will you ever turn your back on your people? Pull it back. I never use this pipe to hurt anyone. And then he brings it back. On the fourth time, when I receive the sacred pipe, I will do what you ask of me. Like that. If that person agrees, he takes the Chanumpa. See? So this Chanumpa is the protocol of that, is the laws. So you look at inside of that, each one of these laws, then think about all these things. You know, did you ever lie with a Chanumpa? So example would be, maybe you offered a Chanumpa to a holy man, said you were going to Humblecha or Sundance 4 years, but you didn't follow through with your promise. So you're lying, not only to that holy man, but you're lying to Tunkashala, the spirits. So there's examples in each one of these laws, how you conduct yourself. Okay. No, there's examples of spiritual law. So laws that are not part of his vision. We yohi la apich api. There's a Ankashi that came up talking about that this morning, that women should not be here on their monthly cleansing. Apich api is that you're doctoring yourself. That's a powerful thing when you think about it, because they have that ability to purify themselves. So that clashes with the power of the sacred pipe, or there's any medicine or any ceremony going on. That woman is there. That's so powerful that she neutralizes what is being done there. So that's really important. Never walk in front of a person smoking a chanumpa. You never walk in front of them. That's disrespectful. And then another example that we see is never walk across front of fire, never while hauling the stones at the Inipi, and then never walk across East Gate at the Sundance. So everybody has that rule, but a lot of people don't understand why. It's because those spirits enter, like at that fire at the Inipi, those spirits enter through the fire, and these spirits are going into the Inipi, coming beforehand. Once that fire starts, the Kankashla is coming. Same with the Sundance. Once the Sundance starts, the spirits are coming in the East Gate. When you go across them, you stop that flow of the spirits. That's why you always never walk across the East Gate. Okay. So the natural law, like I mentioned earlier, is so what that means is how we interact with nature around us, like the animals. There was some talk about here mining, once you start to tear Mother Earth up, you're asking for trouble. And back in the 60s, President Nixon declared this area a dead zone. So what that president's declaration is that they can do anything if it's in the boundaries of that dead zone. So anything inside there, animals, plants, trees, and people are all expendable. So that's why they're letting this contaminated water come out of the Black Hills and go into the Cheyenne River, which feeds all of the reservations, like the creeks that come off the Cheyenne River and goes to the White River. That water goes to a lot of our Rosebud and the Ogallala land. So the tributaries of that river. So we're drinking contaminated water. We have a high incidence of cancer at home and diabetes, and all of these sicknesses attributed to water that's contaminated. Okay. So we talk about traditional government. How is it going to look when we go back to it? So on the top, the final say-so of what any kind of decision by the tribe was by the 4 Inilawota, which is the silent eaters, they call them. And these were older men, and they would sit in a teepee till they came to a decision. So they would bring them food and they would sit there and talk about whatever it was, and then they would come to a decision. The next were 4 Wakichunze, and these 4 men were given a sacred pipe. So that was the symbol of what they are. So they were underneath not underneath, but they worked with the Inilawota. And then underneath them was the Wichashaya Tampika, which is the 4 shirt bearers. So shirt wearers. So the last ones were, if my memory can work here, Sword, Young Man, Afraid of Horses, American Horse, and Crazy Horse were the last of 4. And then after that, they were disbanded. And so it no longer is there. The next part is the Nacha, is the chosen headman of the Tioshpai, and then the Ozuye, and then the Oyate. But this isn't, remember, this is not a hierarchy. This is a circle that everybody had an equal voice in this. So from Nacha down to Ozuye and the Oyate, that's the only thing that is intact today. What Kahashi Phil talked about, that's still there. So you go to any community, the Tioshpai is set up under this system. So there's still leaders in Tioshpai. They're not recognized by IRA. Nobody, some of them were made Nacha and they were put war bonnets on them. Waphaha Umichakapi. So they're leaders within that. But from there on, Wichasha Yatapika on up is no longer functioning. That's no longer there. So maybe if we regroup as a people and go back to this, it's like what Kahashi Phil was saying is that this is the government that signed the treaties with the United States. The government, a lot of these men that signed the treaties were Nacha of their Tioshpai. So we could maybe restructure our government, and the government cannot abolish this type of government. It's there, and it's sealed by the sacred pipe, the Chanupa. So you could never disband it or whatever. But a leader can be taken out of office if he breaks some type of law, like I was talking about, like a spiritual law or a social law or like that. He does something against the people. So we talk about the story of supposedly of Crazy Horse who took another man's wife and there was trouble from it. These Inila Bota, unshirted Crazy Horse, they took his shirt and they never put it back onto anybody. It's never been worn by anybody else. So he was unshirted, but that didn't take his leadership, because when he went to war, the warriors still followed him. So even though that shirt, the symbol of his office, was taken, then he still did not lose his popularity. Okay. So this is an Oglala Camp Circle, 1879. So this was a sun dance that's south of White Clay, Nebraska. This is how they camped there, the Oglalas. So there's a loafers, Wagaluche, that's called. Unloaded, the Oyuchbe, bad face, the true Oglalas, the Osage, the Wajaje, these are the people that live in Porcupine now. Break into Kiyuksa, the people that live in Kyle, the Spleen, Trapishlicha, and Payabia along the hillside. These people are right north of Red Cloud School now. That's where the Payabia lived. Their chief was young man afraid of horses. So go ahead. So when you break a spiritual law, to break the sacred law, they say, misfortune will come on you or the people. A person will lose their life. So that's the final ultimate anabchich, as that you cause something to fall, misfortune to fall on yourself by breaking a spiritual law. That's the ultimate, I guess, thing is to die because you did something like that, breaking a spiritual law. So I just wanted to put this together, this PowerPoint, because I'm a visual person, if somebody comes up here and talks for 45 minutes, and by the time I get out the door, I'm gonna forget what he talked about. But if I remember pictures, then I remember what he talked about, he or she. So that's how I am. And I think the majority of our people are like that. So you see a lot of times when somebody just talks without anything visually, then you see people in the audience sitting like this. Pretty soon their head is going like so I just wanted to end with that. We put out dishes outside. So that's why I talk fast, because I want to eat. Oh, that's it. Oh, there.
We're gonna go to the lunch and then continue the agenda in the afternoon.
Oh, no, you have a chop. Which that's some gosh, I would you have a hinge. And get you asked to poet. And get that chat and yap in a chunkies. One cash go hotel car own cap in a which hikes cash on bed to get. Then a pajuta ki a gloop pajuta. I grew a shack. It was on in one shack cocktail. Homitakas.
Okay, the food's ready and go ahead and elders and go out and get your food and sit, come down and sit at the table.